Dialogues with Deities from Mountains, Part 1. China has been hit by various kinds of disasters lately, including landslides and raging floods. Seeing these, an unprecedented large number of Taoists who have been cultivating in mountains have come out. I once saw a Taoist who had cultivated for 1,200 years, but his Gong column has not yet exceeded the 3 realms. He has connections with some other deities within the 3 realms, and also called himself a deity. He appeared in front of me several times from a distance, and we had some conversations, which were conducted through telepathy. I know his thoughts, and he also knows my replies. It is instant communication, a kind of energy transmission. Below were several interactions we had. The first encounter. The first topic we had was about cultivating Phelan Dafa. When I saw him for first time, I sent out a thought. One can make very rapid progress by cultivating Phelan Dafa and following its principles, which embody the characteristics. He replied, I always respect my master's teachings and have no intention to switch to a different school of cultivation. I heard that and did not say anything. The second encounter. When we saw each other again, we discussed organ harvesting and why people cultivate Phelan Dafa. He said to me, some of your practitioners suffered terribly. Their guts were open, their organs were taken, and their remains were gone, but they were always surrounded and covered by some bright substance. I have seen this a lot. I could not see where their souls ended up. The principles of cultivation are opposite that in the earthly world, I explained. Even if a cultivator encounters great torment, he or she will have a good ending. This is because the Phelan Dafa master is watching over them. Dafa practitioners' fates are not controlled by beings in the 3 realms. If their destinations were revealed to you, what would you do? He paused for a while and then replied, if I or other Taoists were able to see their bright ending, we may do something or may not. After all, our own masters have left precepts for all of us. I know some ancient cultivators quit their old schools of cultivation and turned to cultivate Phelan Dafa. They have made rapid progress and far transcended the 3 realms. I added, the third encounter. He gave the following comments when seeing me the 3rd time. I know the roles you have played in the 1,000-year reincarnations, and I also saw you going through reincarnation again and again until you began Dafa cultivation. I was shocked to see how fast your Gong column grew. Soon afterward, your Gong column became too high for me to see. Cultivating in Dafa requires the improvement of one's mind nature, or Xinqing. That is why the growth of Gong is very fast. Plus, some Dafa disciples' origins are very high and incredibly lofty. If they don't improve quickly enough, they won't be able to accomplish their missions. I explained. He replied, you are a very special group of people, kind-hearted, selfless, and suffering on behalf of others. But you practitioners also have a lot of human attachments. It is hard to imagine that you practitioners could still cultivate like this. I said, you are able to see my reincarnations, also witness my cultivation, but still have doubts. My master taught in his FA teachings. The principles conveyed are plain and simple, as are the words. FA teaching at the 2013 Greater New York FA Conference. But it seems that some deities are still confused and do not get it. The 4th encounter. When we met for the 4th time, he talked about how many officials of the Chinese Communist Party, CCP, have the mark of the beast, specter of communism, on their foreheads. Many officials, either high or low ranking, have devil marks on their foreheads. It is unprecedented in history. Their behaviors, the way they treated Dafa practitioners, are no longer human. Rather, they acted like ghosts in hell. They do not know that upon death, they will end up in hell and suffer much worse than ghosts there, he explained. He emphasized that some practitioners had died extremely miserably. He also knew one Taoist who cultivated in the mountain that had a predestined relationship with a Dafa practitioner. The Taoist could not endure anymore and broke out of a secluded cultivating cave and came out of the mountain to rescue that practitioner. I followed the whole process after he came out of the mountain. He used his supernatural abilities to immobilize the vicious beings, CCP officials and guards, and successfully saved the Dafa practitioner. He was then surrounded by a cloud of bright substance, and I could not see his specific situation any longer. This incident was a big deal in the cultivation community and was very impressive. I agreed with his observation and said that the present regime is a satanic entity, which does nothing but evil. Officials hate, denigrate, and slaughter practitioners. Retribution follows them like a shadow, and their fates are doomed. On the other hand, anyone who can help a Dafa disciple at this time is also laying an excellent foundation for their future. Any Taoist who helps a Dafa disciple at this time and enters the door Dafa will be very fortunate. The fifth encounter. In fact, many cultivating in seclusion in mountains are watching your people. They have sometimes looked down upon you practitioners. You still have various human notions and distracting thoughts. They are discontent that you practitioners are still able to cultivate like this. The deity said when we met the fifth time, "I now know that you also have such questions." And there are so many Taoists in the mountains who are paying attention to the Dafa practitioners in the earthly world. In the sky and on the ground, there are so many gazing eyes. In fact, I might have an answer to your doubts. If you are willing, I will try my best to explain it. I replied, "Yes, please. I have been waiting for the answer for a long time," remarked the deity. I gently laid out my explanation. Many Taoists, and even a great many deities, are confined in past forms of cultivation and look down upon Dafa disciples because they see that practitioners have many human notions and attachments. The master of Dafa told us, "As you know, Li Hongji is doing this undertaking in an ordinary human form, with a human body, using the lowest form of language among beings in the cosmos, the human language, this most simplistic human language of today, and using the lowest form of cultivation, Qigong. This has left all beings throughout the cosmos unaware. Teaching the FA at the Western USFA conference, guiding the voyage, after Master Dafa revealed the secret, we learned that the previous forms of cultivation only cultivate the assistant soul, with the main soul and the body being the carrier, which in fact is unfair to the cultivators." I said, "In the process of formation, stasis, degeneration, and destruction, the universe has already moved towards the end of annihilation. Everything is corrupt, and evil is rampant in the world. Even deities in the mountains have already witnessed how the regime has been persecuting Dafa cultivators, labeling them as mere numbers to be killed on demand for their organs. There are many supernatural beings in the universe, such as a Taoist in the mountains, who see persecution and do nothing. If I say that bystanders are connivers, you might not agree." I continued. "The master of Dafa said, Dafa looks at a person's heart. Worldly people should be clear-headed. God, human, ghost, animal, extinction. Each one determines his own position. Untitled, Hong Yin Tu." I felt these words of master are for all beings in the cosmos. I noted that some Taoist gong columns have reached beyond the galaxy, but there is no one guiding them out of the three realms. Others may have gong columns at various levels within the three realms. There are many Taoists who come out of the mountains. One reason is that the disasters have affected their cultivation environment. Another reason is that their levels have grown extremely slowly these years, with almost no progress. Having hit this bottleneck, they are puzzled, but do not know the reason. In fact, when Master taught the FA in the early days, many cultivators left the mountains to watch. Some watched from a distance, while some even communicated with Dafa's master, as they were amazed at how fast Dafa practitioners cultivated. However, after the persecution started on July 20th, 1999, the thinking of many of them changed. Most simply watched silently what was unfolding in this world. Some saw that even heavenly beings were participating in the persecution of Dafa practitioners, and thought that this was the will of heaven, so they stood by and watched. You deities have seen many evil elements pressing down on Dafa disciples. Thinking that they would surely collapse, I explained. After more than 20 years, you witnessed everything. Dafa has gained a foothold in the world, and Dafa disciples have not fallen. You can't see what our master is doing, but you have witnessed what Dafa disciples are doing, and you have seen their supernatural abilities. Your energy is able to reach Dafa disciples and pay attention to them in their cultivation of the world. I continued, on the one hand, you have seen their supernatural sides. On the other hand, you have also seen their uncultivated human notions. These two sides of behaviors have made you confused about Dafa cultivators. Master has talked about Dafa disciple state. But in your case, as you validate the FA and save people, you are a cultivator still, and cultivators have human attachments or else they will be gods. And could a god do cultivation? Gods cannot cultivate. Only those with human bodies can cultivate, and only that can be called cultivation. So, precisely because you have this human body, you have the opportunity to cultivate and to improve. That opportunity is extremely hard to come by, and precious particularly when Dafa disciples have such a grand mission. So in your cultivation, no matter what ordeal comes along or what kind of difficulty you face, you cannot let those things change your course. FA Teaching at the 2008 New York Conference. Collected FA Teachings, Volume 8. You may feel impressed when seeing my supernatural abilities manifest during righteous thoughts in the morning. But when seeing me talking affectionately with my family in the evening, you may feel disdain. Similar things may happen when you see me upset or angry with others. But this is the path our Master has arranged for us to cultivate in the world. I explained. Dafa cultivators do not avoid complicated social environments, and we practice clearly in the secular world. We cultivate ourselves clearly amidst the persecution and living in everyday people's society. We strive to remove our attachments to vested interests and desires. Precisely because one has human notions and attachments, one can cultivate by gradually removing attachments and elevating our levels. The great way has no form, and our Master has arranged for us the best way to cultivate the main soul. Master knows that you are paying attention to his Dafa disciples. Master is very compassionate and did not cut off the channel you opened to the Dafa disciples, because that is the only thing you're interested in the world. I added, Master did remind us. But actually, there are so many eyes in the cosmos intently watching you that the number is simply unimaginable. Even a single particle of matter is packed full of these eyes. Even the tiniest of particles are. All of the lives in the cosmos are intently watching all that Dafa disciples do. And divine beings are among these. 2018 FA Teaching given in Washington, D.C. There are so many eyes looking at Dafa's disciples. But Dafa disciples are unaware of them, and they focus on sharing the goodness of Dafa with the world. Some Taoists were surprised to see Dafa disciples communicating with deities. As you know, some Dafa cultivators have seen the god of plague and disaster and written articles to make the world aware. Many Taoists may interpret this as practitioners' human notions, but saving people is practitioners' mission from Dafa's master. Plus, without any human attachments, it is nearly impossible for a practitioner to remain in the secular world with an ordinary life, to save people on a large scale. In fact, Dafa Master is changing the body of disciples from a microcosmic level, so that we can constantly improve while still able to live in this human world. I explained, you have paid attention to me, and you have seen me paying respect to my Master. You also saw Master smiling. Even when I was ashamed of my own human notions, Master still encouraged me with a smile. Master is very compassionate and forgiving. He is also constantly reminding, inspiring, enlightening, and protecting his disciples. This kind of cultivation form is unprecedented, and I understand why you are puzzled. After all, this is something that the masters of other disciplines dare not do. Many renowned historical figures in the world were once played by Dafa disciples. They endured hardships, laid cultural foundations, and had once experienced glories and honor. You might be able to see the past of the Dafa disciples in these three realms, but you may not know their ultimate origin. They came down from lofty places, passed through countless heavens, witnessed the creation of the three realms, portrayed human history, and laid a foundation for divinely transmitted culture. I continued. When Taoists in the mountains practice peacefully and quietly, what they intend is achieving consummation for themselves. But Dafa disciples, on the other hand, have a historic mission of saving sentient beings. I added. As I stopped, the deity was quiet and did not say a word.